All right, have and have not fans. I'm not gonna lie. It's the 23rd when I'm recording this. One more week, and well, not yeah. Next week, this time we'll only have one more day of the month in this November. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again that January, or let's just say 2018, is going to be here before you know it. I mean, it's like my mom says, once we hit the holiday season, that's the end of the year, or better yet, once the Charlie Brown specials come on ABC, Great Pumpkin, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Well, the year's over with. So just wanted to let you know the ball is still rolling. We do have more videos on the way. Of course, that's why I'm recording right now. But again, I just wanted to make it clear to you all that I did start a sub channel called Just Covering Comics. That's going to be going over different shows like the CW Arrowverse. I'm talking like Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, anime such as Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, not to mention movie recaps on basically all the non-fictional things, or actually fiction. I always get those two confused, man. Basically all the kind of fictional aspects like comic books and anime, because I've heard in a lot of videos in the comment section below when I make a reference to, hey, how Batman and Joker, and it's like, oh, you watch superhero shows and read comics, I want to get your thoughts on this. I felt that I really needed to get another channel out there, that way the Tyler Perry community wouldn't be getting posts about Pokemon. It's like, wait a minute, I thought it was a Tyler Perry video coming up, but then I heard about Pikachu. No. So please, there's a link in the description below. Go over to Just Covering Comics and subscribe. I just started, so the videos, I've only done a couple, but know that more are coming. I'm just trying to build up an audience. But to get more to the point of this video, I just wanted to let you know that I'm actually a bit surprised by a lot of feedback, maybe not in the comment section on the videos, but on like the Facebooks and Twitter I'm on. I will post a link to, hey, who should play Veronica's mother, or what if Jim never met Candace, or another popular one, what would happen if Hannah became a have? And the comments I'm getting are just amazing how many I'm getting. So I just wanted to do another video in regards to what if, and this is an interesting one, what if Candace's father came back into the picture? And that would be a very interesting aspect to the story, because I feel like we would see a side of Candace Young we have yet to see, being a vulnerable Candace. I mean, we have seen her being vulnerable before in regards to her son. Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to get comfortable in my chair here. I actually bought a new chair so I can record, because the other one, I got too stiff when I was doing like 10-15 minute videos. So we've really only seen Candace vulnerable when it came to her actually opening up to Oscar in the hotel, the Sarandon Hotel, when she was around her son, and, when she found out he was dead. So there have been a few times where we're seeing Candace, actually kind of crumble apart and be vulnerable. But I feel like the father coming into the picture would definitely add more character. And to be honest, I feel like that's a good thing. I've done it before, a video about Veronica, is Veronica too good for the show? Meaning that the fact that Tyler Perry has built Veronica up to be such a big bad, and honestly most likely the best character in the show, it leaves less to be desired from the other characters, because Jeffrey, Benny, and whatnot, and Wyatt, we just don't get enough of them in terms of character development, because we're all focused on Veronica. Now when it comes to Candace, it's just the same story. She blackmails somebody, she gets some money, she gets in trouble, almost loses her life, everything, but then she decides to do the same thing over again. And I feel like, and again, excuse the comparison, and it goes back to why I did another channel, Ash and Pokemon. If you ever watched the Pokemon anime, I'm sure some of you all listening have kids or younger relatives who watch Pokemon, and then you see this 10-year-old kid with an electric rat running around, and it's like, where is daddy at? A lot of people wonder, hey, what if Ash Ketchum's father came into the series? That would add more dimension to his character. Let's jump back to the haves and the have-nots. If Candace's father came into the picture, I feel like the question is, how would she act, in terms of, would she be angry? Most likely, in terms of, why weren't you there? Who are you? Because really, according to Candace, she really doesn't know who she is. Who he is, because I think if we go back to, I want to say around season 2, when Benny was still in the coma, it was around the time where Candace first met Tony, and he was going on about getting him off of life support so he can get a kidney from Benny. And that's when Candace first met Tony. And the little exchange between her and Hannah were like, you know, why didn't you tell me about Benny? Oh, if I'm not mistaken, oh yeah, that's right. If I'm not mistaken, Hannah never told Candace about Benny, and that kind of pissed her off. And again, that was season 2. So if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a while since I watched that, I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. And she kept asking, it's like, why didn't you tell me? Where's my brother? Tell me about my brother. It's like, well, tell me about my grandchild. Then who is my father, Hannah? Implying that she doesn't really know who her father is. I think, and again, that's why it's hard for me, and that's why if I sound like I'm stumbling over my words, when you think back to season 1, season 2, whenever Candace would talk about her family to like the Haves being Amanda or the Harringtons, she'd always make up these stories like, you know, in episode 1 when Hannah just became a maid, you know, when she first became a maid for the Criers and was going around the mansion during Jim's birthday party. Candace made up the lie that, oh, my mother died, and Hannah was standing right there. And then I believe when one episode where Wyatt's kind of interrogating Candace about being, you know, a liar and whatnot, about liking older men, she talked about how her mother was killed, and I think her father did something. Maybe the father killed her mom, and the last time she remembers seeing him was in the back of a police car or something to that extent. So to my knowledge, she really doesn't know who her father is, because remember, her and Benny have different parental figures in the form of, oh, Tony is the father of Benny, but Candace has this unknown father. So I guess the question is, you know, not just who is the father, because I feel like the father is somebody we have yet to see. Like, we've never seen who Candace's father is. I remember seeing one comment on my videos that, oh, what if David was Candace's father? Nah, I don't think that would be it. No, I feel like it would be more powerful if it's somebody we never met. I mean, arguably, you could say that, oh, if it was somebody that's been in the show the whole time but didn't know, I don't think that would work. I feel like it has to be somebody we haven't even met yet, because again, unlike a Charles or a Justin, so to speak, characters who we've never met but who already have an established connection to characters in the show. Like Charles came to the show, it meant nothing to me because he was just this random guy running for president. I mean, sure, he knew about David knew about him, but that made sense in the fact that they're both running for political offices. But Charles, I feel like he just opened a can of worms in terms of like storylines and plot holes that really didn't belong in what was already the funk of, you know, the mess that everybody's going into. But if you're talking about expanding the character roster of, you know, relatives of characters we've already seen, like Candace's father or some of the family members of Jim and Catherine. And again, I've said this before, like at the funeral, it's like, okay, well, why didn't we meet any of Jim and Catherine's other relatives? I mean, they lost their daughter, so you would think aunts, uncles, you know, grandparents or cousins might have been concerned, so they came over. I mean, that house was packed with people during the, you know, the gathering after coming from the cemetery, so we were probably looking directly at some of the family members without even knowing it. But the fact that Candace being at the house kind of, and Melissa kind of like took over the story, we never met anybody, so I really can't tell you. And the same thing with Veronica's mother. So again, those kind of relatives, or pretty much anybody to expand the personality and background of some of our established characters, means more to me than getting some random guy running for president just to keep the, you know, the crazy train running, so to speak. So I feel like in terms of father, if there, okay, put it this way. Remember how I said in my video about Veronica's mother, if there was ever a time for her to show up, it's now, you know, considering her daughter might be dead or in a coma or in the hospital due to the injuries to the car wreck. I feel like now would be a good time for her father, Candace's father, to come into the picture because she lost her child. I think that's a great way, because all this anger and whatnot, would she try to take it out on her dad? I don't know, maybe. But at the same time, I feel like maybe she should kind of bring herself down just a little bit from this fury of losing her son by getting to know her father. I mean, there are just so many unanswered questions about this mystery man, how Candace would react to, you know, seeing him for the first time, because again, we don't know much of anything about him. And you have to wonder, if her father came back, would that change Candace in any way? Especially if he finds out, what kind of person she is, what she does, quote unquote, for a living. I don't know. Maybe the positive influence of having a father would have her put her head on straight and go to law school and finish up. I mean, there's just so much potential that could come from Candace's father coming back. Could her father be just like she is? Could he have been or is a pimp or some? Again, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of babbling on because there are just so many possibilities. I'm telling you. So with that being said, and not to mention, how would Benny react? I mean, would Tony come back? If that would be a great way to kind of tie things together. If Candace's father came in the picture, Tony, I'm not saying every single problem has to be resolved, but have Benny learn about why Tony wanted him off of life support and try to, I mean, Tony has done enough, in terms of being a bad guy, but I just feel like, again, it's all about expanding the character roster, expanding on these character backstories, learning where they came from, and just getting some resolution there. And just seeing how they would react. I feel like Hannah will be able to find true peace within herself if her children find peace within themselves. That was good. I like that. If they can kind of, put an X in the box beside that missing link in their lives, being their fathers, I feel like that'll definitely turn things around, because Hannah is a good, yet I know she's not perfect. She does come across hypocritical sometimes as a Christian, but that's not the point. I feel like Hannah wants the best for her children. She needs to just relax to, get herself right. But I feel like, and again, I feel like if there's any parents, especially mothers, listening to this video right now, again, I don't have children, but I'm just saying that I know my mom is like this, where she can't truly be happy and relaxed unless she knows her children are all right. So if there are any mothers out there, comment below if I'm kind of hitting the nail on the head with this one, that you can't find true peace until you've really felt that, okay, my children are okay, now I can relax. So with that being said, I feel like this would open the door to some great character development. And again, with the show potentially ending around 2020, there is still time, but Tyler Perry needs to wrap up some of these other storylines that, in my opinion, really don't belong. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If Candace's father does come back into the scene, who do you think should portray him? Who do you think he is? What would that do to the Candace character? So again, keep the discussion going, because this is one what if that I really want to get some feedback on.